Capricorn, what is going on with you? Come on in, have a seat, make yourself comfortable. My name's Alan Hill from UnknownTruthTarot.com. Welcome back to another Capricorn love reading. Today we're going to take a look at the status of the love connection between you and your romantic person of interest. So let's get started here. Let's get one card for what's the mutual point of interest between Capricorn, person of interest. That was easy. What's been going on with you, Capricorn? It's been a minute. I wasn't feeling too well from like right before Christmas all the way up until about a week or so ago. That was easy. Turns out the furnace was leaking carbon monoxide into the air, and that was messing me up really good. Okay, let's see. This is going to be an easy one here. Cooperating, letting me get the cards out. Let's see what's going on. On the bottom of the deck, the overall energy of this reading is the Fool. This is the first card of the major arcana, so it represents a new beginning at something. This is usually taking a blind leap of faith on something where I don't really know exactly how this is going to work. I don't know what the steps are. I don't know what the end result is going to be. This is about just saying, you know what, screw it. I'm going to go for it and I will figure it out on my way down. I'll figure it out as I go. So this can represent a new beginning at something. It can also sometimes represent someone displaying foolish behavior, taking unnecessary risks, taking risks outside of a connection. Below the surface of that, I've got the Wheel of Fortune, another major arcana card, so we're loading up with them already. Powerful energy. This is a change in luck and fortune. So you could take that a couple of ways. If things are going great and this card comes out, that's a pretty good bet that things are going to take an unexpected left turn into the telephone pole. This can represent like the pivotal moment where everything suddenly changed. You could take it the opposite way. If things have already been going really bad, this can be an indicator that someone is trying to correct course. They're trying to turn the wheel the other way and straighten this thing back out and get it back on the right track. It can also represent a change in luck and fortune. I just said that. It can represent a repeating cycle of something happening again and again, like a recurring thing here. So we could have somebody displaying foolish behavior in a recurring pattern of that. We could also have like a new beginning here where it's going to start changing everything, or things have already started to change because of that. Not 100% sure that's it. It's starting to look a little bit more like the first option there. Below the surface of that, I have the Two of Swords. This is Libra energy. Twos are always choices or decisions, and this is a decision that needs to be made, only it hasn't been made yet for some reason. You can see the person's blindfolded, and that blindfold represents either I don't have enough information available to me in order to make this decision, which is why I haven't made it yet. Can also sometimes represent a person who has blinders on. In other words, there's something about this situation that I don't want to see. I don't want to look at it. So I'm kind of keeping the blinders on so I don't have to see it. I don't have to face it. It's kind of like an element of denial. Sometimes this is just a stubborn ass energy where someone is choosing not to decide. That's the gist of what it looks like this is going to talk to me about. We might come back to that more as we go along if we need to. This mutual point of interest is shared energy that affects both of you in some way. It doesn't always affect you the same way. Sometimes they do this and you feel the consequences, or vice versa. Sometimes they say or do something and it makes you feel or act this way, or vice versa. Sometimes it's something external that's affecting you both. But that mutual point of interest between the two of you is the Three of Pentacles. This is Capricorn energy. It's supposed to be teamwork and collaboration and working together as equals to build something of value. This is typically working together to lay the foundations for the Ten of Pentacles. And the Ten of Pentacles is about maximum stability and abundance and prosperity, and the combining together of two people or two families and all the assets and resources to build that stable life together. This is supposed to be the teamwork aspect of that. But you can see on this particular card, there's only one person on the card doing all the work all by themselves. And that's usually an indicator that one person in this connection isn't showing up the same way the other person is. So let's clarify this and see what else I can find out for you. Tell me more about this Three of Pentacles, please. Get one more. Thanks. All right. Below the surface of this Three of Pentacles, I get the Two of Pentacles, which is more Capricorn energy. Again, twos are choices, and this is a choice between these two physical things, and I can't have both of them at the same time. Like, I can't turn left and right at the same time. This is usually like weighing the decision, looking at the pros and cons and trying to make that decision, this one or that one. Do I or don't I? Should I or shouldn't I? And it's an off balance kind of an energy. You see the guy standing on one foot. The ocean is rough and choppy in the background. That represents rough, choppy emotions in the background, being off balance physically, off balance emotionally, trying to regain my balance or trying to maintain my balance because it's been thrown off. Sometimes this can represent juggling more than one person. So in this idea here of teamwork and working together as equals to build something important, we got some off balance energy, maybe some undecidedness here below the surface of that Eight of Wands. This is, Sagittarius energy. I'm all stuttering today. This is the second fastest energy in the deck. It's about very fast forward movement, forward progress on something there's a lot of passion and desire for. It can represent rapid back and forth, passionate communications. It can also represent a lot happening all at once, where it's like too much is happening all at once. It's too much to process all at once. It's kind of like trying to take a drink of water out of a fire hose. It can be like a really overwhelming kind of an energy. I get this a lot when something comes out of left field where I wasn't really anticipating this, and now it's like, wait a minute, what the hell's going on? Whoa, too much is happening, slow down. That could be why I'm seeing this off balance energy, because it can represent passionate communications going back and forth really quickly, and that could represent we're juggling two people. Son of a, wow, 10 of Swords right below the surface of all that. This is Gemini energy. This is a swift, painful ending. Sometimes it's an ending you didn't see coming, which is why the swords are in your back. Sometimes this is an ending in betrayal, hence getting stabbed in the back. But no matter how you slice this energy, it's an ending to something. This dude has got 10 swords in his back. This is not a case where we're going to go get some stitches and be back to work tomorrow, no problem. This is someone who is dead and over with here. So that could be why we have a lot happening all at once. Something I didn't see coming, came out of left field, overwhelmed me. Now I'm all off balance here. I thought we were working together as equals. When I clarify this Three of Pentacles, I get the Hanged Man, Nine of Cups, Page of Cups. The Hanged Man. This represents progress being halted. No forward movement is happening. Things are stuck. They're at a dead stop, dead standstill. The Hanged Man, he hangs upside down because he's trying to look at things from a different point of view than he would normally look at things from, a different perspective than he would normally look at things from. We usually do that when everything that we've tried so far hasn't really worked, and we're looking for some other way to get this thing unstuck here. The other thing about the Hanged Man is it's where his focus is placed. He's looking at things from a different perspective. He's looking, what out here has me stuck? What out here do I need to make adjustments to in order to get unstuck so this can move forward? It's a really similar energy to the Hermit in the sense of they're both really about trying to figure out, what do I do moving forward from here? The key difference is in where their focus is placed. The Hermit looks inside of himself for, what about me do I make adjustments to so things can move forward the way I want? And the Hanged Man is looking outside of himself. He's looking, a lot of times this will be a person who is not really accepting their role in the situation. They're not taking responsibility for their part in this. Sometimes it can be a person playing like that helpless victim role, or playing the blame game, or this isn't my fault that we're not working together as equals. It's not my fault that there's this off balanceness. It's not my fault that all this is happening at once and it came to an end out of nowhere. This is your fault that it's happened that way, or it's this other person's fault, or it's this situation's fault. It's not my fault. It's someone looking external to themselves. Next, I've got this Nine of Cups, which is Pisces energy. It's a step backwards from the Ten of Cups. And the Ten of Cups is like almost everyone's goal in terms of love and relations. It's that happily ever after, happy fairy tale romance, happy fairy tale love connection that we all dream about. It's about where you're pouring yourself into another person with everything you have. You're pouring all of your love into them, and they too are returning that, and they're pouring all of their love into you with every bit of as much energy and determination and vigor as you're doing it. The Nine of Cups is a step backwards from that. This is personal happiness, sometimes personal wish fulfillment. This is one of those cards where kind of like flip a coin on whether it's good or bad, because in the positive sense, this can represent self-love. It can represent that I understand that you can't make me happy because my happiness comes from inside of me, not outside of me. I don't think that's what's going on, because we've got the Hanged Man here and he's focused externally. The other way you could take this card is it's someone whose own personal happiness is the most important thing to them. Like, what makes me happy is more important than what makes you happy. What makes me happy is more important than us. So it can be like a really self-centered, like smug kind of an energy where it's all about me, myself, and I, and then me some more. My happiness is more important than yours. The other thing I could take this as, especially because we got somebody not showing up the same way as the other person, we got this off balance energy we saw an ending with that Ten of Swords. I could take this as things are stuck and not moving because my happiness is more important than yours. I could also take this that I've got all of my personal happiness attached to this external person. Only problem is they're not showing up the same way as me, and that would be why I'm off balance here, because my happiness doesn't come from outside of myself. It comes from inside of me. This would be about, I don't need another person to show up and quote, make me happy or make me whole, because I already am whole. I already love myself. I don't know that that's what's happening. And I think this is part of what it's probably trying to tell you is take a look at where do you have your happiness placed? Are you looking outside of yourself for someone else to show up and make you happy? Are you looking outside of yourself for someone else to make you feel loved or worthy of love? Because that doesn't lie outside of you. It lies inside of you. Yeah, then I get the Page of Cups. And pages are messengers. Cups are about love and emotions. So this is messages about love and emotions, communications about love and emotions, lovey-dovey messages, expressing feelings. It's a page, which is the lowest form of the court card. So it's not a fully developed all the way kind of an energy. This is usually like early stages of some romantic thing where we're talking about it, or maybe sometimes an apology even. It can also represent a person who is not fully emotionally developed or not fully emotionally mature or emotionally immature, if you want to take it that way, which is kind of what happens when somebody's all self-centered and egotistical and it's all about me, myself, and I. That's not really fully mature energy. Sometimes this can represent some form of a deceptive energy here, because he's got a fish in the cup, and that's really about I'm so not emotionally mature that I can't really handle you looking me in the eyes. I don't want you to see what I'm really about. I can't really handle the weight of your stare into my eyes. So it's like, hey, look at this cool little fish over here. Pay attention to that and not me. So it can be sleight of hand kind of an energy sometimes. Looking like we're stuck, looking like somebody else's happiness is more important than yours, at least as far as they're concerned. We might have some lovey-dovey messages happening because like the overall energy here is taking a blind leap of faith on something new. And whatever that was seems to either be a pivotal moment that changed everything, or maybe even a repeating cycle of that kind of behavior. And it's looking like we got some ending that came out of nowhere here. I will come back to this shared energy as I go through your energy, because then I'll be able to see more clearly how it applies to you. But I'll come back to it again when I go through your person's energy. For you, the first card is always the most important. You get the Six of Cups. Central to your energy is the King of Pentacles. And your final card is the Ten of Swords. Already saw that one. This Six of Cups is Scorpio energy. This is energy of the past. It's thinking about the past, reminiscing about the past, the good old days, the way it used to be between the two of you. It represents a deep emotional connection that you feel. It can also represent something from the past coming back up again, or something from the past happening again, like a history of something. It can represent a history in this connection. Can even represent a person from the past showing back up. So let's take a look at the Six of Cups. Why is the Six of Cups the first card here? Why is that the most important card? Taking an extra one, no big deal. Got ya. Below the surface of that Six of Cups, Death. Scorpio's major arcana card. This is an ending to something. It's something dying, and following that ending, there is a painful transition period or a painful transformation period. Think about like a caterpillar. It goes into a cocoon, and when it comes out the other side, the caterpillar aspect is no more. It's a beautiful butterfly instead. So it comes out better than what it was when it went in. But the process of being inside that cocoon isn't fun. It's not having a party in there. It's actually dying and dissolving and going through a painful metamorphosis. So something has come to an end here. It might be the depth of the connection. It might be the history here. It might be that the history between the two of you wasn't enough to save it. Might be you're going through the painful transition period from whatever has happened right now. Maybe you're doing quite a bit of reminiscing, but then again, this is looking an awful lot like we got a history of something happened. And yeah, behind Death, I have the Fool again, which is the overall energy of the reading. That new beginning, that blind leap of faith, taking unnecessary risks outside of the connection, foolish behavior. That could be the thing that caused it. This could also be trying to tell me there's been a painful transition period after this has come to an end, and you might still be reminiscing on it, and you're trying to get to that spot where you can start back over at the beginning on something new. Man, I got the Two of Cups behind it. Cancer energy. Again, twos are choices. It's an emotional connection between two people, but it's also a choice about the connection, or even a choice between more than one person. And that's not looking so positive when I've got the Fool in front of it, like taking a blind leap of faith into a new connection. Oh man, probably right on the heels of this connection dying, and like maybe they're moving on and you're still dwelling on the history between the two of you and the depth of the connection. When I take a look at the clarifiers for that Six of Cups, I get the Wheel of Fortune again. There's the Hermit I was talking about a minute ago. Nine of Pentacles, Queen of Wands. Wheel of Fortune, we already saw that 2 cards deep in the overall energy. In terms of zodiac signs, this represents the 4 fixed signs: Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, and Scorpio. Again, change in luck and fortune here also can represent a repeating cycle of something happening, a repeating pattern. When it's clarifying a card about the past, where it can mean something from the past is coming back up or happening again, looking like we got a repeating pattern going here. A repeating pattern of maybe taking blind leaps of faith into a new connection. Now, I don't know if that is talking to you about yourself, and maybe you jumped into this connection with this person too fast. Maybe there's a history of doing something like that. It could also just be that they have taken a blind leap of faith into a new connection, and there's a repeating pattern of that type of behavior happening for them. But the next clarifier for Six of Cups is the Hermit, Virgo's major arcana card. I mentioned this when I was telling you about the Hanged Man. Very similar energy, but this is Virgo's major arcana. It represents withdrawal, isolation. I get this a lot when communication shuts down. It's about going inside myself to do some soul searching, some deep inner reflection, some deep contemplation, trying to figure out what about me do I need to make adjustments to so I can move forward the way that I want to. I get this card a lot when someone gets ghosted and the person just abruptly leaves, which makes a lot of sense with what I saw earlier here with the 10 of Swords in the background and that 8 of Wands, something really, I didn't see it coming and now I'm overwhelmed. Wow, I'm not getting ahead of myself. We'll get to that part in a minute. I'm just noticed something in your person's energy there. So I get this when somebody gets ghosted. I get this a lot when you don't have closure about what's happened here because they're not really communicating to you. The real thing that feels important about this for you is the hermit is not usually a voluntary energy. We don't normally just wake up one day and go, you know what? I think I'm going to do some soul searching today. Something happens and it forces us into doing soul searching. We've had probably a really abrupt change happen. We've seen that 10 of Swords. We've seen death. We got something big going on. And this is you looking inside yourself here. Now, I'll get that sometimes when somebody's looking at themselves and they're blaming themselves, especially if the other person is playing the helpless victim in the blame game and telling you it's all your fault or something like that. Could also be looking inside yourself, trying to figure out what adjustments do you need to make to yourself to get this thing unstuck so you can get this 9 of Cups, this personal happiness and wish fulfillment that you have. It could even be saying, hey, take a look inside yourself because your happiness is in there. Your wholeness is in there. It does not lie outside of you. And it could be telling you that right now you have your happiness attached to some external person, and that's why things are stuck. And if you go inside and look at that piece, you might notice a repeating pattern of that happening for you, which would be something that you would need to make adjustments to. Next clarifier for 6 of Cups is 9 of Pentacles, more Virgo energy. This is the other singles energy. This is being physically single, physically stable and abundant and prosperous in and of myself. I don't need this other person to show up and physically take care of me or financially take care of me. It's a step backwards from the 10 of Pentacles that we all want, that combined together life, building a life together. So far, I've got what would be most people's goal in life in general, 10 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles, but we're a step removed from each of those. This is emotionally single, emotionally by myself, physically single, physically by myself, doing some soul searching about that. Then I get the Queen of Wands. This is Aries energy. Sometimes it's Leo energy. This is a bold, passionate, fiery, determined person who knows exactly what she wants. She normally doesn't take no for an answer. This is the kind of chick that not only knows what she wants, she knows what she deserves, and she's going to get what she deserves one way or another. Now, that can be a very positive energy. If you know what you want and you're going to go after it and nothing's going to stop you, that's awesome. The other thing that this can represent is the other woman. This would be the woman who there's all this passion and desire and attraction and sexual energy for. Sometimes this can be a drama queen because she knows what she wants and she doesn't give a shit if that dude belongs to somebody else. I see what I want and I'm going after it no matter what. That could be part of the problem here. Central for your energy is the King of Pentacles. This is Taurus energy. Well, this is half of the equation that builds that 10 of Pentacles that I keep having to reference between the 3 of Pentacles and the 9 of Pentacles here. The other half of the equation is the Queen of Pentacles, which is the Capricorn Queen card. This is usually like husband type of an energy. Doesn't necessarily have to mean legally married husband, although it can mean that. It could mean you're married to them. It could mean that they're the person that you envision building your life with, or that they were building their life around you. It could just be like fiance, person I live with, stable, committed boyfriend type of an energy. I usually just roll all that up into husband energy. So what's going on with this King of Pentacles, please? Why is that the central energy here? All right. Below the surface of that, the Sun. Leo's major arcana card. This is the happiest card in the deck. It's happiness, joy, bliss, harmony. Really hard to get a better card than that in a relationship reading when that's what it's talking about. Now, this could be saying that I've got all of this happiness tied to this person. I've got all this happiness tied to the idea of them building their life around me. Whether you are married or whether you envision it going down that kind of a path, you could have a lot of happiness tied to it. If you look at how our solar system's to put together, the Sun is in the middle. all the planets are in orbit around the sun because it has all the gravity. So there could be a lot of pull to this person for you. The other thing that the sun can represent is illumination. This is the card that comes immediately after the moon in the sequence of the major arcana. And when the moon's out, it's dark outside. Things can be hidden in the dark. There can be stuff that you don't see, secrets. The next step is the sun. And when the sun comes up, it's not dark anymore, which means whatever was being hidden in the dark gets the light shined on it. It gets illuminated, it gets exposed, and you can see it. There's no rule that says it has to be one or the other. This could actually be both of those things at the same time, and it's just different layers to the story. Behind the sun, all this happiness here, I've got the Two of Pentacles. Your happiness is probably thrown out of balance here. There's some choice in the physical world that needs to be made here, and I'm not fully decided. I'm still weighing pros and cons. Do I or don't I? Should I or shouldn't I? But again, that can also represent juggling two people. And that could be the thing that's getting exposed, is that this person that you're viewing as like husband or committed person I'll build my life with kind of an energy could be getting exposed for juggling two people. And that could be why I'm seeing this Three of Pentacles as the shared energy affecting you both, because you're showing up, but they're not showing up the same way you are. In fact, this is making me think even more that direction, because when I clarify King of Pentacles, I get Three of Cups, Six of Cups again, and Temperance. The Three of Cups is Cancer energy. This has got two meanings. It can be about being united and celebrating, or even being reunited and celebrating, like reconciliation or just being together and happy to begin with. It can also represent a third-party love triangle, because we have three cups of love in the picture here. Oh man, and it's sitting right beside the Wheel of Fortune. That pivotal moment that changed everything is that part of what got illuminated is that they're juggling two people, that they have another person involved here. And that could be the pivotal moment that changed everything. This could also, like I said, represent a repeating cycle of something happening again and again, a repeating cycle of third parties. Whether that is this person having a repeating pattern of having third parties while you're with them, or a repeating pattern of you being involved in relationships where a third party ends up getting brought in. That could be another thing that would push somebody inside themselves to do some soul searching. Like, what is it about me that's causing the person I'm with to bring third parties in? And that's actually the wrong question. It's not something about you that's causing it. The problem is outside of you. There is a problem internally. If you're attaching all of your happiness to an external person, and if you believe that I need this external person to show up and make me whole, or to show up and make me happy, and I can't be whole or happy without an external person, that would be something to take a good long hard look at. This idea here of maybe third party things happening again and again in connections that you're involved in, it's not so much as what is it about me that causes them to do that. That's the wrong question. It's what is it about myself that gets me attracted to an emotionally unavailable person who doesn't show up the same way as me? What is it about me that causes me to stay in a situation where they're not showing up the same as me? Those are better questions for you to ask. Next clarifier for this King of Pentacles is the Six of Cups. Again, that was your first card in the whole spread here. Scorpio energy of the past, reminiscing about the past, reminiscing about the good old days when we were together and happy, when I had still having all my happiness attached to them. I've got two cards here that are telling me you've got probably too much happiness attached to the other person, instead of understanding that your happiness comes from inside you. If you zoom out for a minute, I realize this is probably an emotional situation for you. If you zoom out and detach for a second and look at it logically, what are emotions like happiness? They're actually chemicals that we make in our bodies. Our physiology creates these chemicals, and it has an effect on us mentally and emotionally. Happiness is no different. It's a chemical you make in your body, which means I can't make you happy. I can't show up and make you happy. This person can't show up and make you happy. No other person can make you happy because they're not connected to your physiology. They can't create those chemicals inside you. You do that. But what'll happen is a lot of times we'll create those chemicals and make ourselves happy when another person is in front of us. And by default, we end up giving them credit for, quote, making us happy when actually we did it and we're just kind of blaming it on them. This would represent a deep emotional connection that you have and history in this connection, and also represents something from the past coming back up and happening again, which is tied to that third party thing. It's also connected directly to the Hermit, which is telling you again to go inside yourself and take a look deep down in the shadows at the parts that you don't want to look at, that you don't want to face, which is bringing me back to that Two of Swords that's right here behind this repeating pattern that's happening. There's something about that pattern that you're probably not looking at. Maybe it's because you just haven't thought about that yet, which is why you haven't decided to take a look at it. Maybe it's painful and there's a piece of you that doesn't want to look at that. And the blinders are preventing you from making a decision that you need to make. So we've got the next clarifier here is Temperance, which is the Sagittarius Major Arcana card. This is a card of patience. It's also a card about alchemy, about blending two things together to create something new. Sometimes this can represent reconciliation or the desire for reconciliation. In tarot, water represents love and emotions, and here the love has been separated into two different cups, and she's recombining it back together here. Could be I got all this reminiscing going on, and that's making me want to blend this back together and repair it and fix it. It could be that you're being overly patient because of the history that you have and because of, reminiscing about the good times when I was happy with this person. And then again, we got this whole idea of they're not showing up the same way, and there's something that's keeping you stuck related to where you're finding your happiness, where you're looking for it externally instead of internally. I get this card a lot when something is dramatically out of whack, and this card shows up to point that out, and it's a recalibration energy. It's about, hey, this is uneven and we need to rebalance something here. It's connected straight to this Nine of Pentacles, this idea of being physically single, physically by myself, one step away from having what I want, which is this combined together life. And I want to rebalance that piece. But this isn't supposed to be a rebalancing and a recalibration of the connection or the other person. This is supposed to be about you recalibrating your emotions, your internal world, and maybe getting yourself to the spot where, you know what, I actually am okay by myself. This is about me taking care of myself physically, and this would be about you taking care of yourself emotionally, loving yourself. So far, the only thing, I read this in columns and I connect it in rows as I go along, and so far the only thing that has nothing to go with it is this Queen of Wands, which is feeling like another person, and there's a hole in the information right beside her, probably because that you might not have all of the details on that. Final card for you is the Ten of Swords, Gemini energy. We already saw this before in the underlying energy. Swift, painful ending, ending you didn't see coming, ending in betrayal. Tell me more about this Ten of Swords, please. Why is that the final card here? Man, below the surface of that Ten of Swords for you, Ten of Wands. This is Sagittarius energy. This is a heavy burden that you're carrying. It's something that's weighing you down and it's holding you back. The positive side of this card is it's a 10. And in tarot, 10s are about completions. I'm clarifying the Ten of Swords right now, an ending to something. It's probably painful and you're probably burdened by the pain. But this is supposed to be the spot where you lay that burden down and move forward without carrying it anymore, which I don't think you've done. I've got the Six of Cups in both decks in your energy. The something from the past happening again, reminiscing about it. I've got the Wheel of Fortune as your very first clarifier for that Six of Cups, a repeating cycle. I've got it telling you to look inside yourself because there's something in there that needs adjusting. And I know people typically come to tarot relationship readings because they want information about the other person. But the other person isn't where the information you need is. It's inside of you. I also know that because 99.9% of the tarot readers that you're going to see on YouTube use tarot to predict the future. They kind of position tarot as if it's this magic window you look through to see into the future, to see what's going to happen, a window you look through to see what's going on with this person and what they're thinking and feeling and what they're going to do. And that's not really what tarot is or what it's ever been. I mean, even Arthur E. Waite, the person who created the Rider-Waite deck, Aleister Crowley, all the forefathers of tarot didn't use it to predict the future. In fact, they spoke out against doing it that way. They called it a parlor trick. What tarot really is not a window you look through to see into someone else or the future. It's a mirror, and it reflects you back to yourself. It reflects your energy back to you. It reflects your patterns back to you. It reflects your situation back to you so you can see it clearly. So you can use your free will to make decisions that are in your own best interest and take actions that actually help you instead of keeping you stuck. Below the surface of this Ten of Wands, this burden that you're carrying, is the Fool again, which again is the overall energy of the reading. A brand new beginning at something where I'm taking a blind leap of faith on it. Now this is feeling like, lay this burden down. Like this burden, part of it is this person. Part of it is where you've got your happiness placed outside of yourself instead of inside of yourself. Part of it is the repeating cycle of this happening and the reminiscing about it. There's something about this where I think maybe you might not be accepting the ending of something, and that in and of itself can be burdensome. But this is saying lay all of that shit down, all of it. You don't need to carry that anymore. You can move forward without all of that. But I've got that Fool underneath it, which again is blind leap of faith on something new. It's also probably you're burdened because your person is acting like a fool and taking unnecessary risks outside of the connection, which is very likely how we get to this ending that snuck up on you that you didn't see coming, and ending in betrayal. When I clarify that Ten of Swords, I get Four of Pentacles, the Lovers, Ace of Pentacles, Seven of Swords. Four of Pentacles is Capricorn energy. This is holding on tightly to something that I don't want to let go of. There's an ending here, and there's this still holding on to it anyway kind of an energy. That is definitely part of the burden that you're carrying. There's this idea of holding on to the happiness of us being together, holding on to the idea of reconciling and getting back together, holding on to the idea of doing that and correcting course on this, turning the wheel the other way. But then there's also the repeating pattern of third parties, and I'm still holding on anyway. So again, like, instead of coming into a tarot reading asking what is going on with this person and what are they going to do, this is more about coming into this tarot reading looking at myself for why am I holding on to the idea of reconciliation with a person who has brought in a third party? Why am I holding on to something that the facts and the evidence and the behavior shows me is over? Why am I holding on to something where there's this repeating pattern of bringing another person in? And the cards that are connected to both of those are this person and a history, something from the past happening again. Next clarifier for the Ten of Swords is the Lovers. This is Gemini's major arcana card. And again, I'm not trying to bash other tarot readers, but I do have to point out that this card doesn't mean what you probably hear it means every single time it shows up in a reading that you watch. This card does not mean twin flames. It does not mean divine counterparts, divine connection. Those words are even misused. Like divine counterparts is really your soul and the divine. Divine connection is really your connection to God or source or spirit or the universe or whatever label you want to place on the higher power. That's what those terms actually mean. That's what they've meant since thousands of years ago. This is about a choice that you have. It's about the interconnectedness between people. Not just in a relationship, but as, humanity as a whole. We're all connected. We're all in this together, and our decisions affect each other. This card actually used to be called the Choice a long time ago. So it represents a choice about what probably feels like a really powerful connection to you. But it can also represent a choice between more than one person. I did see Two of Pentacles, juggling. I do see third party here. And I do see what very well could be the other woman. I do have right next to that Lover's card, the Six of Cups. So again, this is probably feeling like an incredibly powerful connection to you. I saw the Sun, having all of your happiness attached to it, all the gravity it has. I've got your happiness, your personal happiness attached to something external to you. And this not fully emotionally developed all the way kind of an energy here. Holding on to it. This is looking like this is a deep emotional connection, and I feel it to be incredibly strong, but emotional intensity is not the same thing as we're supposed to be together. It's not the same thing as actual true love. It's entirely possible to have a very powerful emotional connection and emotional intensity tied to a person who's actually bad for you, which it looks like this person is. The next card I have to clarify the Ten, I guess I got to go back to that because it's clear. This Lover's card is clarifying the Ten of Swords. This is talking about what has come to an abrupt end, an ending in betrayal, an ending you didn't see coming, to this, what you feel is a powerful connection. And I want to hold on to that, the power of that. I want to hold on to the emotional intensity of that. I want to hold on to what I believe that is for me. And there's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. It means you have a lot of love to give and that you want to give it. And there's no shame in that. That's actually a good thing. The world needs more of that. What this feels like it's trying to tell you is that you need to love yourself that way, because this person isn't showing up the same way as you. And as long as you have your attachment, your happiness attached to them, you're going to remain stuck. You're going to have this burden continue to weigh you down and hold you back. This is about releasing it. It's about letting it go and not holding on to this thing that's dead. This is feeling a lot like I'm holding on to the feelings that I've created in myself and attached to this person. I'm holding on to what I believe this means. And you're being instructed in that same row. Look inside yourself, not outside of you. You can't change them. You have no control to make them do what they're supposed to do. The only control you have lies inside of you. Your happiness, your wholeness lies inside of you. And you have to go in there to get it and claim it and make some adjustments here. The next clarifier for the Ten of Swords is the Ace of Pentacles. This is a new physical opportunity presenting itself. It's not an idea or a concept. It's a physical thing that I can reach out and touch. And like any ace, it represents an opportunity. It represents potential, but you have to grab it and do something with it. Otherwise, it's just empty potential. So this is looking like looking for an opportunity to reconcile, trying to be patient until the opportunity gets handed to me. It can also represent your person is blending themselves together with a new opportunity in order to create something new, even though they are in what's supposed to be a connection with you. They're supposed to be the person that you're building a life with, but they're not showing up the same way you are. The final clarifier for that 10 of Swords, that swift ending in betrayal, I get 7 of Swords. This is Aquarius energy. This is lying, cheating, stealing, deception, sneaking around behind your back, trying to get away with something that I shouldn't be trying to get away with. A new physical opportunity presented itself, and they snuck off and did something with that, even though they were in a connection. Again, reading it in rows now, this bottom row, Queen of Wands, 7 of Swords, that's the other woman. That's the woman they have passion, desire, attraction, sexual energy for, and they're sneaking around with her. And in the middle of those two cards is a hole in the information. In other words, you may not have seen that this was happening. That could be why I've seen the 10 of Swords in both decks now. Something came from behind. You did not see that coming. You got betrayed. You got stabbed in the back. That's your energy, Capricorn. I realize that a lot of this is probably not what you want to hear, but it's not my job to tell you what you want to hear. It's not my job to be a fantasy supplier and twist the meanings of the cards around to try to force fit this story that you want to hear. It's not my job to tell you what you want to hear or support a delusion or prop up a fantasy or what you want to happen. It's my job to get you the actual truth of the matter so you can see it. It's my job to hold up the mirror for you so you can see your reflection. And just like a mirror, when I look in the mirror, it doesn't show me the me 10 years from now. It shows me the me right now. Every bit of it. I can see the wrinkles around my eyes. I can see the bags under my eyes. I can see if I got spinach stuck in my teeth. But that's where your power is. You can't change any of that stuff if you can't see it. And that's the power of tarot. It's not looking at some fantasy future. It's not a spy tool to see what's going on with this person over here. It's about being able to see yourself more clearly so you can see what changes you need to make. Let's take a look at this person here, because in their energy, the first card is the most important. We get the High Priestess. Central for their energy is the Hermit. And their final card is the 8 of Wands. The High Priestess. This is the intuition. This is the unconscious mind. This is those intuitive hits. It's where I feel it. I don't have the facts to support it. She's even got her eyes closed on this card. I don't have the facts. I don't have the data. It's not like I got, the private investigator has taken video footage of what's happened here. But I don't need to know the facts because I can tell something is off. I can feel it. Something fishy is going on here. The problem with intuition for most people, and the reason it's so hard for most of us to trust it and listen to it, is because we don't have the facts. And more than just not having the facts, 9 times out of 10, your intuition is telling you something that you don't want to hear, something that you don't want to be true. And without facts to support it, it's really hard to accept that and believe it. But your intuition is telling you something about them. The only real question is, are you listening to it or not? Let's take a look. Now see, we've now transitioned into the other side of the table here. And even though yes, I'm asking questions about this person, like I said, tarot is not a window to see into what's going on with them. It's a mirror. So even though this is probably going to give you information about them, there's going to be plenty in this side of the table that is, again, just a reflection of you. Kind of like, think about when you're standing at someone's front door on a sunny day and you're knocking on the door and you're waiting on them to answer. You can't really see through that window inside their house because all you can really see is your own reflection. And that's pretty much what tarot is. I know most people don't position it that way, but that's the reality of it. So let's take a look at this High Priestess and see what your intuition is trying to tell you here. Okay. Below the surface of your High Priestess, your intuition, I get the Seven of Pentacles. This is Taurus energy. This is a period of time. This is sometimes a period of time where I'm pausing to reflect and take stock of this situation, take stock of this connection, and I'm looking at, is this ever going to grow and develop into the 10 of Pentacles that I really want, where we actually combine our lives together, where it's all stable and abundant and prosperous? Is this ever going to turn into that? Or is this a spot where maybe it's never going to pan out the way I want it to? And maybe it's time for me to cut my losses and move on. So this can be the period of time where you're contemplating that. And with your intuition talking to you, it's probably giving you a different answer than what you actually want to hear. The other thing this can represent is a period of time where seeds have been planted on something already. But if you think about, like, if you go plant an apple seed in your yard right now, you're not going to wake up tomorrow with apples. There's a lag time from when you plant the seed to when it sprouts and pops out of the ground. There's a lag time for the tree to grow all of the way. There's a lag time for it to blossom and get fruit on it. There's a lag time for the fruit to ripen, and then you can harvest it. So this can represent that long delay period, that period of time where seeds were already planted on something, and I'm waiting on it to fully develop. Or it could even represent a period of time where your intuition has been talking to you about something. It could even represent a period of time where your person has already taken a blind leap of faith and everything changed. And maybe they kept you blindfolded. Maybe they kept you from seeing it so you couldn't make a decision to do anything about it. Maybe there's been a period of time where that kind of stuff has been going on, even a repeat cycle and a history of that stuff going on. And maybe this is talking to you about a period of time where I've intentionally kept the blinders on because I don't want that to be true. I don't want to look at that. I don't want to face that, because if I did face that, I wouldn't be able to not choose anymore. I wouldn't be able to not make the decision. I would have to choose. In fact, the decision would be made for me. And this is a 2, and the High Priestess is the 2 of the major arcana. So she rules over the 2s of the 4 suits. She rules over the decisions. And like I said, a lot of times, intuition is telling you shit you don't want to hear, shit you don't want to be true, shit I don't want to see or look at. Yeah, below the surface of this 7 of Pentacles, this period of time, I get the 2 of Pentacles again. It's Capricorn energy. Again, it's a 2. It's a choice between 2 physical things that I can't have both of. I can't have you and also start a new beginning somewhere else. I can't have you and bring a 3rd cup of love into the picture at the same time. I can't have you and have a choice between lovers. I can't have you and sneak off and act on a brand new physical opportunity that presents itself to me. I can't have you and this person that I have all this passion and sexual energy and attraction for. I guess I could, but it's an off-balance thing to do. It's not a balanced thing to do. That would make it so that this person isn't showing up the way that you are, because they're looking outside of themselves for their happiness too. They attach their happiness to other person, and maybe the ability to flip-flop back and forth between you and someone else. Their ability to sneak around and do whatever they want with this other person, sneak around and take advantage of new opportunities that physically present themselves. Queen of Swords is right behind that. That's Libra energy. This is she who knows the truth. I've spent quite a bit of time talking about emotions and happiness being attached to something external, and maybe reminiscing about the way it used to be, and the happiness I had might be a cycle, a pattern that's getting in your way. Notice her head is above the clouds, and the clouds represent that emotional confusion, the emotions clouding my judgment, the emotions stopping me from seeing clearly. Her head's above the clouds at this point. She sees clearly. She knows exactly what the fuck is going on. And she holds her hand out like this because she's fair. She's offering to let someone speak their truth. Tell me your side of the story. The problem is she already knows the truth. And when the truth that they tell doesn't match the truth she already knows, it's off with your head. She represents discernment, the ability to tell true from false, the ability to tell when someone's bullshitting me or not. She also represents facing the truth and speaking the truth and then cutting away the thing or the person that isn't in her best interest anymore. This off balance here. It's like, which one do I go with? Which one do I listen to? Do I listen to my intuition? Do I listen to the emotional world and what I want things to be like? Do I listen to the truth and the facts and what I can see right in front of me? There's a big difference between looking at a relationship for the feelings that you generate inside yourself and give credit to them, give credit to the relationship for those feelings that you create. There's a big difference between looking at it for the way I want it to be versus the way it actually is. And that's part of what discernment is about. When I clarify the High Priestess here, the intuition, I get the 10 of Swords, the 10 of Pentacles, the 7 of Wands, and the 6 of Pentacles. 10 of Swords, we already saw that. That's the final card in your energy, Gemini energy. Swift, painful ending. Ending you didn't see coming. Ending in betrayal. Getting stabbed in the back. This is like my intuition is telling me something is way badly wrong here. 10 of Pentacles is the next clarifier. Like I said, this is most people's goal in the physical world. This is maximum stability, abundance. It's Virgo energy. It's the combining together of two people, two families, all their assets and resources to build the stable life. I think you might have had your happiness attached to that idea, and that idea is in control of them. It's in their energy. I've got the King of Pentacles in your side, which again is you being focused on them. And the King and the Queen of Pentacles create this 10 of Pentacles. But notice we don't have the Queen of Pentacles out here. They're being represented in your energy. But so far, you're not being represented in their energy. Another thing that seems to be coming to the end is this, either the combined together aspect of your lives or the idea of that combined together life. Next, I get the 7 of Wands. This is Leo energy. This is defensive energy. This is defending my position on something, defending my stance on something, being willing to fight to protect something that I desire, fight to protect something that I believe in, that's important to me. It can also represent defensiveness, as in, well, we did see the Queen of Swords, 3 cards deep in the below the surface energy. And like I said, she represents speaking the truth. She represents that difficult conversation where I'm asking you tough questions. And this is, no, I didn't do that. I didn't do that. No, it's not me. It's like ducking and dodging and bobbing and weaving and deflecting. It's directly across the aisle from a physical opportunity presenting itself. It's directly across the aisle here for someone blending themselves together with something new to create something new. It's directly across the aisle from physically single energy. Now, I don't believe for a second they were physically single, and I get this 9 of Pentacles a lot when someone isn't single, but they present themselves in the physical world as if they are single, and this is saying, no, not me, didn't do that. Now, another piece of this, because like I said, a lot of this is going to also be a reflection of you. This could be defensive energy in that I want to fight for this connection. I want to hold on to it and not let go of it, even though it's dead, because what I'm really trying to do is hold on to my belief about it. I'm trying to hold on to what I have my happiness attached to so that I can continue in that. It seems to be less about the actual relationship that you're holding on to and more about what you've created internally to represent that and what it means about you and how it makes you feel. So it could be that a lot of what I've said so far in this reading might be triggering you. It might be making you defensive and wanting to defend this person and wanting to defend their behavior and wanting to defend the connection and ability to fight for it and defend the life together that you've built, because you have probably invested a lot of yourself into it, a lot of time, effort, and energy you've poured into it. Now, the other thing it's defensiveness about from this person is Six of Pentacles. Actually, this is probably both too. I'll explain the other side in a second. But this card is Taurus energy. It's supposed to be balance. It's supposed to be generosity. It's supposed to be reciprocity. Like you scratch my back and I scratch your back and we take care of each other and it's equal give and take. We don't have equal give and take. The shared energy is one of you is showing up, doing all of the we and us stuff by yourself. And meanwhile, they're not showing up the same as you. So it's not balanced. It's not equal give and take. And you might be trying to fight to get it rebalanced, to get it to where it is equal give and take. But again, that's placing all of your happiness on the external person. You can't control the external person. The only control you have is this person, the you, the self. The other meaning to the Six of Pentacles is you see the guy here is the merchant, and the merchant is giving to two people in the physical sense. We've seen the juggling. We've seen the fiery queen, the hot queen, the sneaking, deceptive, lying, cheating behavior, the going after a new opportunity, the choice between lovers, the third cup of love being involved here. This is the merchant giving to two. This is them having you and someone else that they're juggling and saying, "Nuh-uh, not me, I didn't do that." And they're not accepting their role in the situation. They're not taking responsibility for their actions. This is the blame game, the helpless victim. When it finally does come out, which I'm sure it does, or you wouldn't have Queen of Swords here. It probably already did come out. Actually, I got illumination with the sun right behind it. The sun came up, the secret that was being kept, the thing that was being hidden from you, got illuminated. It got exposed. This is probably them playing the blame game. Well, it's not my fault I had another woman. It's your fault. If you wouldn't have done this, that, and the other thing, or if you would have treated me better, then I never would have did that. And that, again, could be why I'm seeing the Hermit over here. Another layer to the Hermit is now you're looking at yourself for what adjustments do I need to make about me so they stop doing stupid shit like this. That's not how it works. They do stupid shit like this because they're a fool, because they take unnecessary risks, because they too have their happiness attached to outside things. They have their happiness attached to lovey-dovey messages, starting at the beginning of new lovey-dovey connections and expressing feelings and talking all flirty and all that kind of stuff. They have their happiness attached to sneaking around and taking advantage of opportunities and going after other people. You can't change that behavior. You're not supposed to be changing the behavior. There's been a period of time where this has all been off balance to begin with, a period of time where they've been juggling another person, probably a repeating cycle of that. And this is you seeing the truth, getting your head above the emotions of it and facing the truth of it. This is supposed to be a recalibration of you, not a recalibration of this connection with this person. And you can't make them change. I mean, have you ever tried to change a habit on yourself? Like maybe stop biting your fingernails, or stop smoking cigarettes, or stop drinking, or start exercising, start eating right. Like that shit's fucking hard. Like it's hard to change yourself, and you're in control of you. It's impossible to change another person, especially when it's not my fault. It's not my fault. I didn't do this. It's my mommy's fault for not treating me bad. You're never going to change another person, especially when they don't think there's any problem. There's nothing that does need changed. To them, it's totally okay to lie and cheat and sneak around. It's totally okay to be defensive and say, no, I wasn't doing that when I had another person. It's totally okay that this comes to an end because their happiness is the most important thing to them. You're not going to change that in a person. This is like, stop holding on to the feelings of it and what you believed that it was going to turn into. Stop holding on to the potential and look at the reality of it. Look at the behavior that they've shown you, not the potential that you want to see in them. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's great that you look at the best in a person. You can see potential in every human being on this planet. Like, you could have seen potential in Adolf Hitler, but look what he did. Look at his behavior. That potential wasn't lived up to. And same in this person. The potential hasn't been lived up to. Central for them is the Hermit, Virgo's major arcana card. Withdrawal, isolation, communication shutting down, ghosting you, not giving you closure. It's also being forced inside to do soul searching and deep inner reflection, deep contemplation about what adjustments do I make to me so I can move forward the way I want to. I'm pretty sure this means they've shut down communications with you. I'm pretty sure it's not them looking at themselves for what do I need to change. I've got defensive energy here. I've got, it's not my fault. I've got attached to my own stuff, my own personal happiness, and that keeps them stuck. Now, do they need to do the Hermit? Yes. But again, this is a mirror reflecting those pieces of you. You need to do some soul searching about your attachment to this person, about your real factual ability to cause them to adjust themselves. You have no control over adjusting them. You can adjust you, and that's it. Let's take a look at this Hermit. What else is it trying to tell you here? What's going on with this Hermit, please? Why is that the central energy? Yeah, notice no communication happening. I shuffled. You've seen how this works. I shuffle, cards shoot out all over the place. I shuffled all the way through and got one card. The one card I got is the Fool, which we already know because we've already seen it before, and it's the overall energy of the reading. They need to be doing some soul searching about the foolish stuff that they do and the new beginnings that they start and the unnecessary risks that they take. Good Lord, have mercy, please. Below the surface of that Hermit, Seven of Pentacles again. Period of time going by. Period of time where you've been waiting for this to pan out and turn into what you want. Period of time where you're trying to hope it turns into this Ten of Pentacles combined together life that's stable and abundant and prosperous. Probably a period of time where it's been dead and that snuck up on you and you didn't see that coming. Probably a period of time where your intuition has been trying to tell you this stuff. And maybe you are blocking that because it's telling you what you don't want to hear. And I get it. Don't get me wrong. I get it. I don't want to hear that shit either. I've been in that spot before where my intuition was telling me the same thing. And I'm like, no, they would never do that. Yeah, they would. And they fucking did. And I eventually caught them at it. So it's, your intuition is talking to you for a reason. It's your unconscious mind picking up patterns. It's not a magic superpower like so many people try to pretend like your intuition is this superpower or this spiritual gift that a select few people were given and the rest of us don't have it. Every human being has an unconscious mind. Your intuition is part of that. It's a pattern recognition system. The unconscious mind can process millions of pieces of data in the same amount of time that your conscious mind can process 3 or 4 pieces of data. So when you have that hunch, that internal knowing, or you just like, bang, I know what's going on, but you don't have any proof, it's because your unconscious mind has picked up on something and already processed the whole thing and just spits the answer to you before your conscious mind has even become aware of what the fuck is going on. There's also a period of time here where they've been defensive, and a period of time here where they've been given to someone else behind their back. We're clarifying the Hermit, so this is supposed to be looking inside about, is this worth you continuing to invest all your time, effort, and energy into this? Because it hasn't panned out yet, and it doesn't appear that it's going to pan out. I've got 10 of Swords in both decks. I've seen Death card twice. Yeah, below the surface of that period of time and the contemplating that kind of stuff is the Five of Wands. This is Leo energy. Fives are conflict, and wands are about passion and desire. Well, this is an internal conflict. It's a conflict in my desires where a piece of me wants this person back, and another piece of me knows that what they've been doing to me is bullshit, and I deserve better than that. And it's being torn between those two things. It's about pulling myself in multiple different directions at the same time, playing an internal battle of tug of war regarding what do I actually want. Because I want to build something with this person, but it has to be equal. It has to be equal give and take. They have to be in it the same way you're in it. And yeah, there's parts of you that recognize it's not that way. It's never been that way, and it's never going to be that way. But then there's other parts of you that don't care, and I want to hold on to it anyway. So this is telling you, look inside yourself. Look how long you've invested, how long you've waited for something to come out of that, waited for them to act right, and it still hasn't. Now, from their perspective, there's probably been a period of time where they've been internally conflicted and pulled between more than one thing that they desire. You and this person that they've been sneaking around with. When I clarify the Hermit, again, it's telling me the same thing. Again, I get the Fool, the three of the major arcana, the Empress, and the Three of Pentacles. Notice the threes that I'm getting here. This is supposed to be two. This is supposed to be you and them. 1 + 1 is 2, not 3. You don't get 3 until a new physical opportunity presents itself and you sneak off and do something with it, and ta-da, here she is. Here's the 3 of Cups. Here's the choice between lovers sitting here with the Lovers card. That happens because of the Fool. It's the overall energy of the reading. This person displays foolish behavior, foolish decision making, unnecessary risks outside of the connection. They take those risks, and it's tied to the 10 of Swords, and it kills everything. You don't see it coming, probably because you have your eyes closed. You feel it coming, you feel it when it's happening, but again, that's not what you want to be true, and I get it. This person. Next clarifier for the Hermit, the Empress. This is the mother of the tarot deck. She's always pregnant. She's always giving birth to something. In a relationship reading, she represents the birth of something new, as in the birth of a new connection. They took a blind leap of faith, birthed a new connection, even though they were combined together with you in the physical world. And we get the Three of Pentacles, Capricorn energy. Again, going back to that internal conflict, I got Capricorn, but I also got this new chick. Teamwork, collaboration, working together as equals, laying the foundations for the 10 of Pentacles, and at the same time, birthing a new connection. At the same time, blocking the idea of building something together as equals. That's why they're not showing up the same way you are. And again, just like over here in your side, and that when I got done with the first 2 columns, I had this Queen of Wands, the other woman, and there's a hole in the information beside it. On their side, I get to the end of the first column and I've got them giving to 2 people, and there's nothing beside it again. A hole in the information. Again, I think they were keeping that from you, and you may not have actually known factually that it was going on. Do I think you felt it? Yes, I do. Do I think you ignored that? Sorry, but yes, I do. And I think you might have a pattern of doing that, because if that shit's true, what I want can't be true, and I don't want to see that. I think that might be one of the big patterns. You ignoring yourself, you not trusting yourself, you believing the other person more than you believe yourself, probably because you have your happiness and your wish fulfillment attached to the external person. So of course you want to believe them. I get that. Final card for them is the Eight of Wands, Sagittarius energy. We saw this at the very beginning, I think, when I was clarifying the shared energy. It was on the bottom and below the surface. It's that very fast forward moving energy, rapid back and forth passionate communications happening, rapid forward movement or progress on something passion desire related. A lot happening all at once, too much to handle, too much to process all at once, something coming out of left field, and it's overwhelming. Tell me about this Eight of Wands, please. Why is the Eight of Wands here? Making me dig for the last one here. Below the surface of that Eight of Wands, the Hierophant. This is the Taurus Major Arcana card. This is a card of commitment. It's about taking things to the next level. In a relationship reading, this is about either being married or maybe engaged or living together or going down that kind of a path and being fully committed to the relationship. So there's this idea of a committed relationship here below the surface of this too much happening all at once, overwhelming passion energy. Behind this Hierophant, below the surface of that, is the King of Wands. This is Leo energy. This is a bold, passionate, fiery, determined person who knows exactly what he wants. This ain't the dude who's going to let some minor obstacle or roadblock get in his way. This is the dude who's very driven and motivated and determined and ambitious. And he's either going to find a way to get what he wants or he's going to make a way to get what he wants. It's also the top tier of the wand suit. And the wand is the phallic symbol of the deck. It represents the male, you know what, using it to do, you know what, sexual energy, passion, desire, all that fun stuff. It's also the counterpart to this Queen of Wands over here, the passion, desire counterparts. Notice we haven't seen King and Queen of Cups, the love counterparts. We haven't seen King and Queen of Pentacles, the physical life together counterparts. I've got him represented in the center of your energy. Don't see head or tail of you in their energy. Again, you're showing up the right way. They're not showing up the right way. Also, they are in the center of your energy, which is a good indicator that you have your happiness attached to them, the external person, instead of finding it inside yourself first. That's the only part of this that you really need to work on. That's the part of this that's not fully developed for you all the way. You're still expecting the surprise from the other person, the gift from the other person, the apology from the other person. And they haven't given you closure. But closure is not really something that another person can give you anyway. Closure is something you create for yourself. It's part of this recalibration process that we go through. It's recognizing that it doesn't come from outside of me. And that's what has you stuck, waiting on it to come from outside of you. It comes from inside you. You create your own closure. So we've got this commitment here, and behind the scenes of that is all this passion, desire. I'm going after what I want. I'm going to get what I want. Very driven, motivated, determined energy, but also very driven, motivated by passion and desire and sexual energy, which is why we've got all this uncontrollable 8 wands flying through the air, overwhelmed by passion and desire. When I clarify that 8 of wands, 8 of cups, the world, and the high priestess. The 8 of Cups is Pisces energy. This is emotionally detached energy. It's emotionally detaching, physically detaching, and walking away. The person in the card is walking away from 8 full cups of love. And they're doing that because they think there's something better out there for them. A lot of times, this is a person who thinks the grass might be greener on the other side of the fence. In fact, I'm so driven and motivated by passion and desire that I got to go find out if it is greener. It's sitting right beside the Fool. I'm going to take this foolish decision, this unnecessary risk outside of the connection, and I'm going to detach and go find out if it's better over there or not. Again, Fool is the overall energy of the reading. That's what changes everything. What typically happens with this kind of a person is they'll go find out if it's greener on the other side of the fence. Is it better with this other person? And when they find out it's not, what do? They eventually try to come back. That's probably why there's a history of something happening again and again. The history of that is tied to 3 cups of love. There's a repeating cycle tied to 3 cups of love. There's repeating cycle and history of something happening again and again together right here. Like, it's all over the energy for you here. Also connected to the Hermit, which is the card in the center of their energy. They got some stuff to work on related to that, because the grass isn't green based on what side of the fucking fence it's on. The grass is greener where you pour yourself into it, where you water it, where you nurture it, not on what side of the fence it's on. Now, again, because this is also a reflection of your energy coming back to you, the meaning of this card for you is advice. And the 8 of Cups is telling you, if you're honest with yourself, if you look at the behavior they've shown you instead of the emotions you have attached and the belief you have attached, and the future that you have played out in your mind, instead of looking at all of that stuff, look at the facts, and you'll recognize that this person has only ever given you 8 cups, because 8 cups is the best they can do. It doesn't necessarily mean they're a bad person. It just means they're not capable of giving you what you actually want, what you deserve, what you're worthy of. They're not capable of that. And this is telling you to recognize that. Going back to that Queen of Swords we've seen, discernment, being able to face the truth and look at the truth of something and make decisions based on that truth, not based on the emotions that cloud everything up for you. This is saying that if you really want your 9th cup, it's not in them, it's in you. And if you really want the 10 of Cups, the real happily ever after, where the other person pours their love into you with the same effort that you pour your love into them, you ain't getting that here. You're going to have to walk away. This is about making the conscious, difficult decision to walk away from what I have, to go down a new path that leads me to my own personal happiness, where I love myself every bit as hard as I've poured my love into them. And I don't think you've done that at this point. I think you've poured your love into them way harder, with way more effort and intensity than you've poured it into yourself. And I think what you're expecting is that they're eventually going to act right and pour themselves into you with that same intensity. And then we'll get to the 10 of Cups. And then this whole love power of this connection that I want will become real. But how's that worked so far? You've been doing it all, and they haven't been reciprocating that. They've been blocking the equal give and take. They've been defending themselves for giving to 2 people. One of them is behind their back, hidden from you. This is telling you it's time to walk away. We saw that 10 of Wands, the heavy burden that's weighing you down, and it's time to lay it down and release it and move forward without it. That's what this is. And yes, it's connected to the Fool, taking the blind leap of faith on the new thing, because this thing is dead. And again, the Fool's the overall energy. You're at the beginning of a new thing, and you can either repeat the cycle again, which you will do if you don't take the blinders off and face the truth of this. You have a choice to make. I think part of you is expecting them to make the choice to come back and apologize and come back and act right and stop doing these things. You're looking outside of yourself for what needs adjusted. You can't adjust them, and they aren't adjusting. So if you don't want to repeat the cycle, you have to face that and make You make the decision. Stop waiting on them to make the decision. You do it. You take the blind leap of faith. I get it. You don't know how it's going to work out. You don't know what the full steps are, what the end result of that will be, but you don't need to. This is about having the faith to just leap off the cliff and figure it out on the way down. You don't need to know what all the steps are. You just have to jump. The rest of it will unfold. The next clarifier for this Eight of Wands is the World. This is the final card of the major arcana. It represents completions. It's also the four fixed signs, Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, and Scorpio. This is the ending of one cycle, and at the same time, the beginning of the next cycle, where you start back over at the beginning with the Fool. Again, full overall energy. Now, a lot of people don't want to view it that way. They want to be like, okay, I want this to be the end of the shitty cycle that we've been on repeat on for who knows how long. And I want us to start a new cycle where everything works the way my personal happiness would dictate. I want us to start the new cycle. It's in the same row here with the Lovers, where they actually love me the way I love them. And I want to start the new cycle where this becomes this powerful connection that I've always wanted it to be and the potential I see in it. But that isn't what this is. This is the ending of something and starting over at the beginning on the Fool's journey all over again, starting at the beginning. It's not about going for another lap. It's about figuring out what is it about me that I need to make adjustments to so that I can lay this down and walk away from it and emotionally detach from it so I can free myself and go get what I actually want and deserve. Also, this World card, the ending, is tied to a new beginning, the birth of some new connection for them. And in that same row is the combined together life that you guys had. And there's an ending to that cycle because they have birthed a new connection. They've already started the Fool's journey here by starting a new connection. The final card to clarify this overwhelming, too much happening Eight of Wands is the High Priestess again. Now, that was their very first card. Your unconscious mind, your intuition, your internal knowing trying to tell you something. And the very last card over here is that same card. Using two decks, I've got it in both decks. So I know your intuition has been telling you something. I know you could feel something. It's in the same column here with this emotionally detached energy. Maybe you didn't have the facts and know exactly what they were up to, but you could feel that emotionally they were different to you. They weren't showing up the same way as you. This is your intuition trying to tell you this has come to an end. This cycle is over. It's your intuition trying to tell you that this idea of working together as equals to build something of value is being blocked. That's not what they want. They don't want the same thing as you. And again, on this side, this last row has one card in it, the Merchant giving to two people. Now, from your point of view, this is probably, let's balance this out. Let's make it right. Let's make this equal give and take. But again, that's being blocked. And on the other side, it's not equal give and take if they're lying to you and sneaking around behind your back with another woman and going after passion and desire instead of love. Now that I say that, holy shit, there's one cup card. Cups represent love and emotions. There's one cup card on this whole side of the table. And that cup card is Eight of Cups. Emotionally detached, emotionally distant, walking away to go see if the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. Again, I realize this is probably not why you watched a relationship reading. You probably wanted to find out, when's he coming back? When's he going to act right? Should I continue to wait? But that's not what I do. I don't sugarcoat dog turds and sell candy bars. I get people the truth so that they can make the decisions that are in their own best interest. And 3 cards deep in the overall energy, is the decision that you need to make that you haven't made yet, either because you couldn't see it clearly, which prevented you from making the decision. But if that's the case, you see it clearly now. You have the power to decide. Your agency, your agency, you're in control of you. Your happiness comes from you, not from them. So the question is, now that you can see it, what decision are you going to make?